Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community. This is live in the Castro with Haley Adams, and we are going to always have fun on these Wednesday nights. It's once a month when we beam in with Haley, and it's going to be great. So I'm not sure where you're beaming in from. It could be the Facebook, the YouTube. You might be listening to the podcast replay, but the best way to catch up with a list of all of the events that are coming up are going to be on the community. It's community.reinventingthetattoo.com, or you can go to either of the app stores, pick your poison, Google Play Store, or the Apple App Store, and do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo, give it a download. And the YouTube channel, the podcast, and the app are all relatively new. Reinventing's been around forever, but these are new channels, so please give them kind reviews. And you can send us all your constructive criticism anytime, management at Reinventing the Tattoo. But if you go to the community, click on events, you will see the upcoming schedule of all of these events so you can join in live. We always love to read the comments. And if you have great, intelligent questions, then you might even have them asked. Let's see. The on-demand replays can be found both on the YouTube channels and on the podcast. You could also catch the Live in the Castro podcast if you do a search in Spotify or the Apple Store. Then they have their own podcast. It's pretty awesome. They got them up pretty quick too. It's great. And let's see, goodie bags. We have some really awesome goodie bags that are now actually going out, and you will get an email when they get shipped. If you go to reinventingthetattoo.com/equinox, then you get a link. And actually, we can see it in the background here. It's Android Jones doing some crazy visuals. Aja Lu does live, or it was live at the time. Now it's a replay, but he did a live music to it. It's pretty awesome. And if you have a squirmy client, you put them in front of this on their phone with their headphones, and then all of a sudden they relax for an hour and a half, and then when it's done, then you have to figure something else out. Anyways, what you want if you're a tattooer is the goodie bag, because you'll get Cheyenne cartridges, you'll get inks care of rawpigments.co, and some other goodies. I think a discount off of Reinventing if you're interested in that. Anyways, reinventingthetattoo.com/equinox. You get a link, you watch this. You don't even have to watch it. You just get the watch page. You scroll down, you send in your address, and then we'll send you out the awesome goodie bags. Let's see. Upcoming professional development. We have every week, we have 9 o'clock on Monday nights, a Reinventing the Tattoo subscriber exercise. So Guy has a series of exercises that everybody goes through. He pulls them from different themes from the Reinventing the Tattoo canon, which was like the binder, then it turned into the book and the DVDs. Now it's this massive online course with tons of webinars that Guy edits and like puts arrows and all sorts of great explanations, as well as these Monday exercises. Again, they all lead up, so they'll do a bunch of lighting exercises, then have final projects. If you want to have your artwork critiqued by Guy, then it would be great to subscribe. It's kind of like an art dojo. They're doing like exercises every week, sometimes more than once. They do these other exercises. Okay, let's see. So that's the courses.reinventingthetattoo.com to check out Guy's canon and become one of the paying subscribers. And there's actually subscriber meetings that happen at some of these conventions that we'll be talking about. Let's see. At that same courses.reinventing the tattoo, there's the Reinventing the Tattoo business there, which is has live webinars that I'm leading. Andre Malcolm is doing a koi sleeve design coming up May 18th. The replays are pretty awesome. It's 2 hours of Andre doing Q&A while he does a koi design. If you are drawing along, then you can get your koi design critiqued. BJ Betts has a replay up. Bob Tyrrell's got an 11-hour webinar replay up. It's pretty cool. So let's see what else we have. Weekly events that we do in the Reinventing the Community that are free thanks to our sponsors, the Reinventing Drawing Groups. If you are doing your tattoo homework either on Sundays at 1 o'clock Eastern, or Monday mornings, 9 o'clock Eastern, then you could join us, and the Zoom links are in that community link. We have people from all around the world beaming in, talking about tattoo homework, talking about tattoos. We have different topics. It's pretty awesome. It really is. We've been doing this twice a week for 5 or 6 months, and it actually is still exciting. It seems like there's always something to talk about. Go figure. The world is interesting. Okay, every Thursdays at noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Rookus. They're interviewing tattoo collectors, often tattooers, but a pretty awesome set of people. And every time that they send us their pictures, it's always these crazy, amazing tattoos. And it's like 2 hours. Often Fawn's doing tours of Red Tree. That's every noon on Thursday. The Tattoo Collecting Podcast. Okay. I think up next is we will be chatting about our real world events. Actually, if this is working for you now, if you're watching this live, please let us know in the chat room where you're beaming in from. And yeah, share it around, because we still have a little bit more in the introduction, not too much, another minute or two, so that this is beaming out amongst all of the right places. It seems like it is. I apologize. I'm doing tech and hosting at the same time. Not trivial. Okay, so real world events. This is great. It seems like the vaccinations are going around. People are traveling a little bit. We have Jiminy Peak Mountain Resort rented for October 3rd to the 6th. It is actually a Sunday to a Wednesday. It is the Paradise BYOB. Bring your own booze, brains, brushes, beets, bud, I don't know, berries if you're a vegan. Basically, we're going to get a lot of people together, and we'll be sharing. We'll be doing a lot of streaming like this. Not all of the shows, but a lot of the shows will be streaming. Bob Tyrrell's going to come up to do a seminar. Thea Duskin's coming out to do a seminar. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and we are getting it all kind of together as we speak. So that's October 3 to the 6th at Jiminy Peak Mountain Resort. There's only 100 rooms available, and yeah, I mean, we're not trying to pack the place, so you can definitely beam in. On the other hand, you might want to snag one of those rooms because they're going to go quick, and it's going to be a fun time. Okay, November 12th to the 14th, we're headed to the Brussels Tattoo Convention. Thank you to Kim for having Reinventing Over. We'll be doing seminars. Ivana will be doing a seminar. Nick Baxter will be doing a seminar. I'll be doing a seminar. We'll be beaming in with the Reinventing community for a drink and draw or some sort of art jam. We will be doing a Reinventing subscriber only meetup, which will be fun, and we'll have like the greater Reinventing community, everybody that we know and love in Europe. We're very excited to get over there, presuming that we can. But so far, it sounded like they were going to let vaccinated people into the EU over the summer. And this is November 12th to the 14th, the Brussels International Tattoo Convention. Let's see, save the dates for 2022. July 8th to the 10th, the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo is going to be happening in Rockford, Illinois. It's tattooartexpo.com. Guy will be heading up a Reinventing track, so there's a full-on... I didn't go to college, but I went a little bit, not enough to know the names. Theater hall, I don't know. It's like one of those fancy places, like a theater hall, where the teacher's in the front, and it's like anyways, it's going to fit like 80 people. The Reinventing track is going to be awesome and designed for education. There'll be booths. One of the walls of the tattoo rooms is all windows out on the river. Cliff breakers, it's like on the cliff. It's pretty awesome. So that's July 8th to the 10th, Tattoo Art Expo. If you go straight to that website, you'll be like, wow, Gabe's still a little bit behind on updating everything, but we're a little bit on Jack Rudy time. He gave us the new date graphics. We have them over to the designer. Now I'm airing out all of our processes on an intro. So anyways, go to Tattoo Art Expo. By the time that you're watching the replay, you'll have all of the new information. It's going to be great. The third week of October in 2022, these are 2022 dates, we'll have the Paradise Tattoo Gathering again, the full-on show. It's going to be great. The 10-year anniversary show we never were able to have. we'll have next year. Okay, sponsors, real quick. Rawpigments.co. I talked about them a little bit earlier. You can grab some samples by going to reinventingthetattoo.equinox and signing up and following the process. They are acrylic free and vegan. They're not vegan free. They are vegan and acrylic free. That means they're not drying out after being in the bottles for a while. Check out their story and their videos, rawpigments.co. Inkjet Stencils has been a great supporter of the reinventing community. If you can do out your tattoo reference on your iPad or your computer in Photoshop, and then print out your stencils from a eco fillable tank, an Epson tank, and print out your stencils. Saves you time, saves your wrists a little bit, or your apprentice's wrists, saves you a little bit of dough. And if you are wondering what they're going to look like or if they'll work, then you can send them some pictures. They'll print them out there, maybe with a couple different styles, so that you can see whether the system works for you. It will print out back pieces and sleeves. Andre Malcolm, who's doing this upcoming webinar, he's got a video where he prints out a full back piece. It's pretty cool. And so that is inkjetstencils.com. And then, of course, tattooeducation.com. Guy Aitchison.com. Guy makes this happen. And then tattoonow.com is where I get out my geek. If you are interested in a technology partner, I actually have a little bit of time now that reinventing is kind of in a really good place. So there we go. Whew. It's not only an intro, it's an intro, and we talk about our sponsors. We do let this run uninterrupted, though. So as I hop into the background and get out of the way, then you won't hear from me again. Thank you very much, Haley, for making these happen. Okay. And welcome, Kristina. Okay, so you could take it away, Haley.
Thanks, Gabe. Christina Quinones Miller was raised in Camarillo, California. Growing up, she always felt a little out of place and searched for a space with other like-minded artists. Christy started her apprenticeship at 18 and eventually made it to her dream city of San Francisco. She's going to share stories with us about making it to the city and being pregnant and starting her family as a tattoo artist. Hi, Christy.
Hi. I am nervous.
Me too. Let's shake it out. Shake it out.
Okay.
I love seeing your face every time. What a great thing.
Oh, thank you.
How's your day been?
It's been going good. My mom is currently watching Frankie. Shout out, Mom. Thank you.
Aww. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. And now I'm here just doing my thing.
Hell yeah. Where's Danny Bear?
Danny's at work. He gets off soon.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you want to just dive right in? You want me to ask you really serious questions?
Okay.
It's not that serious. I'm just gonna ask you about your
hanging out.
We're just hanging out. Yeah, I wish we had like a board game or something. They could just listen to us play Sorry, or I don't know. I've never played Sorry, but
I hate games.
Okay, fair enough. All right, well then this is better. We're focused. We're here. No. Okay. So why did your parents originally move to Camarillo?
So my parents moved to Camarillo to, like every parent wants to give their kid a better life and a better schools. And in their eyes, coming to Camarillo, that was the best decision for us. And
where were they definitely
they were in Oxnard, and both of them grew up in my mom and dad, they grew up in the hood, basically, pretty, they just wanted to I don't know. My mom always talks about, we just wanted to give you guys a better life, and we just sacrificed a lot for you guys to stay here.
Yeah. Did you like growing up there then in Camarillo?
I did.
What is Camarillo like? I don't think I've been there. Is that where you live now? I guess I've been there once.
Yes, it's a lot of people call it like retirement town. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of old white people that live here. And it's yeah, that's basically how I would describe it.
So it's like really fun when you're a teenager. It's
Super
like
fun, a
super
lot of
fun.
things to do, a lot of places to go, a lot of art, a lot of art. So yeah, I
Is
don't
it really
yeah,
like retirement? Like, are there a bunch of old people there?
yes, a lot, a lot. There's
Did you have homies, like little kids hanging around that you're like, hey, come out and play? Or were they just
growing
like,
up I
you
did,
played with the
yeah.
70-year-old man?
No, luckily when I grew up on our street, there was kids at the time. I don't think there's any kids on the street that I live on now, but yeah, there was a lot of kids. I'm still like she's one of my best friends, Chelsea. She grew up across the street from me. We hung out all the time and yeah, that's basically how I would describe it. It's really sleepy. Like no artwork, no
You
good
must have been so
restaurants.
bored.
Yeah, I hated it growing up, to be honest, if I'm just gonna let it slip out. I hated it, but I don't know. Well, I live here now. I went to the city, lived there, and
Well,
now I
now
came
you're
back.
retired. No, just kidding.
Yeah. So I do
Uh,
like it now. It's quiet and
okay, but you also let me just I'm just framing this in my head of like what little Christie's life was like back then. You also went to a Catholic private school
yes, I did. I
and
went
you
to Catholic
loved it.
school my whole life. I actually, when I was younger, I believe I started in second grade going to the school that I stayed at until eighth grade. Um, I I feel like I really liked it. All the kids pretty much stayed there the whole time until eighth grade, and a lot of those same kids I went to high school with. We all kind of just went over to another high school that was the private high school 2 cities over. And what I did like about going to that school was um, going to chapel 1 day a week and the stained glass because it's a really, really old
Oh,
chapel. Yeah, and it's
you're
really
good at stained glass. You've been
beautiful.
working with that stuff.
I loved all the colors and statues and just the old vibe of it. It was always really beautiful to me.
Is that where
Going
you
to
found art?
yeah, I always think of that still. Like I think that also when I moved to San Francisco, living in an old Victorian was a dream because they remind me of like old churches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that when did you get like the hint of like, oh, I might like coloring a lot? You know, like
I honestly
art and
like
everything.
can't even remember because I feel like it was just always my thing. Like for example, when I was a kid, my mom would always try to get me dolls or Barbies. And she tells me now even more because Frankie's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But she tried to give me dolls and I would ask her, like, what do I do with these? Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. But she always said when she got me markers or little kids art kits and stickers, that was my thing. And I was always,
Uh,
yeah, I never liked dolls, like stuffed animals I loved and drawing. And
um,
Frankie's the same way, my daughter.
aw,
Yeah,
Frankie's such an angel.
she
Um,
is.
so you were probably like really like straight laced in Catholic school, right? You weren't bad at all.
No, I
I think you were one of the first people to get a tattoo in Catholic school.
in Catholic school, in high school,
In
yes.
high
I
school, yeah.
remember, yeah. My friend Jen and I remember she was the first one to get a tattoo. I think out of like all the boys too and all the girls, like she was the
Hmm.
first one. And she came and picked me up and we had planned it out the day of the week we were going. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to get this. I drew it out. I wanted love in Old English on the back of my neck.
Hell yeah.
And I remember she came and picked me up and we were sitting at the bank. I went and got money out of the bank. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm scared. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it after all. And she's like, no, we're doing it. We're on our way. We're gonna go.
She didn't even let you back out.
No, she did.
Never got the tattoo.
She did it. So maybe I have her to thank for all of this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, mom's not happy, but
no. But I went, got it done. And I felt so cool after. I remember every day in high school, I wore my hair up in a high bun, and we had to wear collared shirts, and you know, with the I think we had to wear the high school sweatshirt with like the high school name on it. But anyways, I would always make sure to stretch my collar out in the back and like make sure it went back in the back, so when I was writing at my desk, everyone could see it.
Yes, I bet you took way more notes too. Oh no,
I did. I was always like this. But I was so proud of it. I felt so cool. And she got hers in the same spot, so I felt like we were both, you know, killing it.
Yeah, that's so cute. You guys were killing it. What did she get?
She got a Chinese character.
Yeah.
On the back of her neck.
That she has no idea. Who knows what? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the time. That
was what everyone was getting. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So were you always drawing all the time and stuff?
Always drawing. I found a journal the other day in our garage, because currently Danny and I moved into the house that I grew up in, and my parents, this is how they lured us in. After me and Danny got married, my parents purchased the house that's kitty corner to where we live. So I'm actually looking at my parents' house right now, and I could see my mom's bedroom window from my bedroom, which is kind of weird.
My gosh. That's how they keep you close.
She can see in our room. She tells me she can't too. I know.
And get blackout curtains. What do you do?
When Frankie was a baby, her crib was right here, and she was like, oh my God, I can just see my baby right there. And I'm like, yeah, for relation wise, I had to get curtains. It was weird.
For relations.
I know.
Relations, weird, right? Mom. Your mom's and like, "What? Hey, Christy, why'd you put up those curtains?" You're like, "Mom." No.
I know. And then it's like, we're also in like my parents' old bedroom when I was growing up. And I was constantly, you know, hearing noises.
Oh, so they bought the newer house. Yeah. Oh wait, Ghost? Are we talking Ghost right now?
No,
don't talk about
Ghost.
Okay. Oh.
And Ghost. You know this house is full of ghosts.
I know. I thought we were going there. I was like, no.
Oh God, too many things. Too many things.
So, my God. Anyway, so you're haunted by the previous sounds that were coming out of the bedroom.
By the previous sounds and the current sounds in here. Oh my gosh. So anyways, I can see my mom's room from here. That's where they live. It's awesome now that we have a daughter, and literally I have too with Danny. I've passed Frankie over the wall when I was at my mom's house.
That's so cool.
Danny. Yeah, it's pretty cool. My dad even built a little platform to my mom she walks up steps and she can stand and see over.
Why she need to do that?
We're very close. My mom's a spy. She needs to be in the mix. So anyways.
Yeah.
What was the question again?
I don't know. I went off. I was really interested in all of that.
It was, I found a diary in the garage the other day.
Oh, about drawing.
I'm like, oh my God. Yes. Okay. So I found a diary, and previously I had found old sketchbooks. Oh my God. I was such a sad girl. I feel like I am sad. I mean, I feel like I am a sad girl at heart forever. Like, I'm very sensitive. So
you're sweet.
I was reading the journal, and I'm like, oh my God, like I have so many emotions. And my drawings were like super dark. This is funny now because I love color so much, but super dark, super like, I was like a little goth girl at heart. Like, all my drawings were goth girls, like wearing big old black boots and black leather, everything.
It's hard to be a teenager. Your brain is rewiring itself. You don't know what's going on. Nobody's going to tell you. They just tell you you're weird right now and an asshole.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh, the pain.
And I feel like artists have it harder because we're more sensitive and we're a little bit weird.
Yeah, a little bit. I feel you on both of those, but I lean more towards the weird. I think
Yeah.
I worry
That's
about
something that
that.
I embrace now. I embrace it
Yeah.
now and I like it.
I'm
Yeah.
trying, but then I'm like, I'm gonna get so eccentric that people are gonna be like, I can't even talk to you. What's wrong with you? You know? And I'm
But
like,
your
okay,
artist
pull it
friends
back, pull it
will.
back.
Your artist
Yeah,
friends
that's
will, and
fair.
we'll go with you. We'll go with
Okay,
you.
great. Great. This is gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. Okay, you're a sad little a goth girl with your sweet tattoos in high
Oh my
school.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
How'd
Yeah.
your mom react to you getting a tattoo? Hi, Christy's mom. I know you're watching.
She probably is. She's
I
actually like,
bet.
you're gonna see her head peek through the back.
Hell yeah. What? Well, I assume she'd watch your interview. She better
I
be
hope so.
watching.
She better be.
She better be.
So I will never forget it. We would have it would happen once in a while where we'd, have a moment to sit down and really talk about our lives. And there was this one day I'm like, oh my gosh, we're like super vibing out right now. I'm like, she's being so cool. And I feel like I could tell her anything right
like,
now,
Mom,
like,
I love
yeah, yeah. And I was like, Mom, I got to tell you something. And right when I said it, the whole understanding mom totally wiped out and melted onto the floor. And she's like, what? She's like, what? And I'm like,
never mind, never mind, never mind, never mind. Uh-oh.
That's exactly what I did. Like, never mind. No. Never mind. You know what? It's dumb. Forget it. So, and she's like, no, you better tell me right now. Tell me right now. And I'm like, no. And then she was, getting pretty extreme. So I was like, okay. I a couple weeks ago I got a tattoo and she's like, where? Show it to me. And I'm like, oh God, no, it's not even big. It's really small.
My God.
It's not a big deal. And she was like, show it to me. And I'm like, oh my God. So I showed it to her. She storms down the hallway. My sweet dad is sitting in his recliner watching TV, not even knowing what's about to happen. My mom blows in, Larry, look what your daughter did to herself. Oh my God. And blah, blah, and she's going off. And I'm just standing there like sweating and shaking and she's going off. And I'm like, oh my God, what's she going to do? And my dad is just sitting there listening to her. And there was a moment I'll never forget. And I don't even know if he remembers, but he kind of like side-eyed looked at me and he was like, just gave me a little grin and a nod. And I'm like, yes. So
like any sense of relief in that situation. You're like, Mom's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill me.
He's like, he's probably thinking like she already has enough coming from her mom's side. Like, I'm gonna give her some relief here. Yeah, so that was cool.
That's awesome. Did your parents did they push for you to have like a certain type of career or anything?
I don't know. I think that I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel like if I was in their place, which I'm sure they probably thought this too, but they were like, shit, man, like, I don't know what's going to happen with her, like we're sending her to Catholic school. She's getting bad grades. She's like getting sent to the principal's office all the time. My mom was always threatening to send me to continuation school. And I was just always, I was just like listening to punk, telling her I wanted to go to public school, didn't want to go to Catholic high school anymore. And they were probably like, dang, like, what is she going to do? Like, she's not getting good grades. She's, I don't know. So
was your brother Frankie in the same kind of situation?
Yeah, he was like the clown. Like, he was always the class clown. He was always getting into shenanigans too. But I feel like he's a charmer. So he was able to charm his way out of a lot of things. Like, even now he'll say like violent out stuff when we're hanging out with my family, but my parents just laugh it off. If I were to say half the stuff he says, oh my God, it would not turn out good for me. But he has the charm, the comedic charm.
Yeah. And then he ended up being a comedian, so there's no.
Yeah, so he's good. Yeah.
Man, that's unexpected. You would never think that your kids like you take him to a private school and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, I just want to, make sure everything's good for them, and then they become like the tattoo artist and the comedian duo.
I know.
I'm like,
And now
man,
yeah. And I
y'all
think
didn't
about
even need to go to school.
I
Fuck
know.
it.
And my mom says that now. She's like, we should have just sent you to public school. Like,
you're like, I told you, Mom, this shit was boring
Yeah.
anyways.
And now, being a mom now, especially, my whole world changed. And now I see, like, oh my gosh, I was such an a-hole, like, I should have appreciated this.
You're a teenager.
And
you don't know. You're just like, your little brain's forming. Go easy on yourself, bud.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I needed that.
So that tattoo that you got, that love tattoo, do you still have it? But
I do.
Yes. But was that the person who apprenticed you? Did you go back in there and say, I love this love tattoo so much. Hook me up. I want to do what you do.
No, but you know what's crazy is, P.S. I always think that people should never cover up their first tattoo, no matter how shitty it is. Yeah, or essy it is. Excuse my language. No matter essy it is, you should never
okay,
cover
Mom.
it up. Just keep it there. Keep it there. It's a memory, I think just the first one, maybe the second one and on you can cover, but not the first. But what was the question? I'm sorry.
Is that the person who apprenticed you?
No, but what's crazy is the person that did apprentice me, Jose Alvazar, he owns Chuckmo Studio in Silver Strand. He actually, when I started working for him, I told my brother, and he's like, oh my gosh, like, did he used to work at blah, blah, blah shop? And when my brother was 18, my brother's 7 years older than me. When my brother was 18, he went to the shop that he used to work at, got his first tattoo done by him.
Damn.
Isn't that crazy? And I ended up
world.
apprenticing under him.
How'd you get that apprenticeship?
I had started getting tattooed. I remember I drew up a tattoo and took it into, his name was Joe Romero, R.I.P. Joe. He was recommended to me by another friend. I went and sat in with him. I took him my drawing, and then he saw that I drew that, and we started talking about art. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really into art and drawing. And since I got my first tattoo,
terrible grades, and I don't know what else. No, just kidding.
And I'll never be able to get any other job. So please help me. So he heard me out, and he was like, yeah, I actually have a friend of mine in Oxnard, and he was working on A Street at the time, Jose, and he had Chocmo Studio there, and he's like, yeah, he's actually looking for an apprentice. You should take him your portfolio of all your work and your sketchbooks and just go talk to him. And he gave me his phone number. I hit him up. I went over there, talked to him, showed him my drawings, and I got an apprenticeship. And I remember coming home in this room that I'm in now, my parents' old bedroom. And I'm like, hey, like, this happened. And, I'm going to start an apprenticeship. I'm going to be a tattooer. And
they're like, fuck no. Excuse my language, Mom. Hell, no, that doesn't work. I'm not bad at this not cussing thing. F no. Sorry.
No, yeah. So I told them, I'm like, yeah, like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a tattoo artist. And I was all pumped on it. And immediately, no, you're not. No, you're not going and hanging out at a tattoo shop on A Street in Oxnard after, until the wee hours of the night every day. No. And I'm 18. I think I was, 18 at the time. And
so you can do what you want.
Yeah. And of course, if my daughter were to tell me that, I'd be like, oh no, I don't know about that, hanging out with a bunch of old dudes. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Jose, if you're listening, but
oh shit.
But yeah,
but old dudes.
Yeah, but old dudes till late at night,
being like some young, like 18-year-old girl. That's
young little kid.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
I wouldn't let my kid go.
No, and thinking about it now, I'm like, dang, that was pretty wild, like, so that's how it started. And I worked for Jose there for 2 months before the city bought out his building. And he came up to me and he's like, hey, dude, like, the city bought my building out. I'm going to have to, go start working at my friend's shop. I don't know if he's going to take you. Like, I have to talk to him first. And I was crushed. I'm like, what the heck? I just started and I finally got this and it might be over already. And luckily the guy that owned that shop, Leo, he told Jose, yeah, she can come too. And I went and started working at that shop for a while. And then I eventually went back with Jose. He opened up another shop in Silver Strand and Oxnard. So I worked with him.
Were you a good apprentice?
No, I mean, that's pretty, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I was. There was one time when Jose was, because I was just, I mean, 20 years old, you're wilding out. And looking at it now, I'm like, gosh, like, I mean, but I guess you have to do that to grow and learn, and you learn from your mistakes. And I remember he's like, dude, you're not doing good. Like, I gotta let you go. And I'm like, what? No, I promise. And I was like, please, I'm gonna,
you were too wild for him. You were too wild for the tattoo shop in the wee hours.
Too wild for him.
Yeah.
And because that's one thing, like Jose, he was the best. Like, he still is the best. He always had my back super hard. He was always protecting me, always looking out for me, always, you know, teaching me multiple life lessons every day that I still use today. He's a really good friend.
That's a good mentor.
Yeah, he was really good. I'm really thankful that I met him in my life. And so I honestly think he knew that he wasn't really going to fire me, but he just needed to check me super hard. Yeah, he needed to. Yeah. So I'm like, no. From then on, I was good.
That's a really good method.
Yeah.
Fire or be like, oh, I have to fire you. Well, okay. But what would have happened if you would have been like, okay, I guess it wasn't working out.
Oh no, I would have never done that. No.
Real.
I wanted it too much, but I also was wilding a little bit at the time.
So you do like you kind of your favorite is color, right? Like color, realistic, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I honestly, like, that's kind of what I've slipped into. Mm-hmm. And what I do love it, but I also really do love doing black and gray. And I'm planning on like kind of reinventing my style that I'm doing. Like, now that I'm working on now that my new shop might be opening up soon.
What are you calling your new shop? I forgot. Sorry, I'm like sidetracking. Oh, Tender Hearts. That's what it is. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So now that that's happening, because when I was tattooed, like when I was doing my apprenticeships, excuse me, at the shop, it was always like black and gray, like cholo style tattoos, religious tattoos. And Jose did a lot of Mayan artwork, and because he's Mayan, and that's what he specialized in. And his shop, Chuck Mole Studio. I don't know if you know what a Chuck Mole is, but it's a statue where when they did offerings, they would put the human heart on it. It's kind of like a little statue that looks like this, and they would put the heart. Yeah, I know, it's cute, huh?
It's cute.
That's cute. Yeah. So
then that's mostly, you said, like mostly black and gray and stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I always saw, and I guess I was the one that always didn't do that. So I would get the work where people wanted color or anything else like that. And you know, when you're an apprentice and just starting out, you take whatever you
whatever you get.
Yeah.
How long did you work with those guys before you were like, oh, you know what? I want to go to the big city.
6 years. And then I moved to San Francisco when I was 24.
Why'd you move to San Francisco?
I was going to, my parents would always not always, they took us there, but took my brother and I to San Francisco when we were younger. And my brother eventually moved there to go to college. And I would go visit him and stay with him for a few days. And I would just get so excited to see all the artwork, and just the life there was just so much more exciting, and different kinds of food and music, and
Yeah, a lot more
just,
exciting than Camarillo.
Yeah, nothing here. Yeah, nothing. So to me, when I went there, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And one day I'll be able to come here. There, I felt like this is more what I can relate to. Like growing up here, I always felt like kind of a weirdo. And moving back here, I feel kind of like a weirdo too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there I felt more
you fit in, like you got a little home.
Yeah, more of the vibe that I was looking for. Yes, yeah. And then I met all my other weirdos there.
The vibe was drinking a lot. Never mind.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, I was there for that part.
We had so much fun.
We had a lot of fun.
I think about that now and I'm like, gosh, dang it, we had a lot of fun.
God damn, did we? What was your first place like? Did your brother trick you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so like after living there for a while, I'm like, dang, dude, you couldn't have, I mean, I don't know. So I show up with the U-Haul. Some of my homegirls were with me to help me move my stuff in. And we roll up at night. We go into the place. It was like, it was
Your brother found it?
Yes, it was in the Sunset. It was on 14th and Taraval. It was totally like old office buildings that they transformed into apartments. So the walls, yeah, it was weird. And the walls separating the apartment next to us was like a piece of paper.
What? Why did your brother think that was a good idea? He was like, hey, you want to move to San Francisco? Come on up. I'll get a place with you. I'll get us the worst place.
It was crazy. So I'm like, oh shit, like this is, or OS, like this is just how I got to roll moving here. And I don't know. So I just, was like, all right, this is cool. I just want to be here. That's all I care.
Yeah.
I just want to be here. So
we're durable.
It's going to work. It's going to work. Yeah. So, but yeah, the wall was about a piece of construction paper in between to the apartment next to us. And we had to share like the electrical bill and the because it was supposed to be one building.
You had to share it with all the people?
We had to split like everything with the apartment next to us. That's how crazy it was.
This sounds like a loft, like an artist loft. Quote unquote.
So it was not an artist loft. I wish it was.
No, like just how they like put it together, like with like friends of ours and stuff. They're all like, oh yeah, I just built a room in there, and then that's my room,
in my workspace. Yeah. So we lived there for a while. And after a while, I'm like, dude, I got to get out of here. Like there's nothing by there. That was Signore's Pizza was the only place that was close to there on Taraval. And we would go to that spot sometimes. And luckily the L train stopped right in front of our apartment and I could take it into work, but the sun was never shining there. And I'm like, dang,
were there windows in this?
There was windows.
I picture you living in a cubicle.
I basically lived in a cubicle.
Yeah. This is an old
it was
like office building.
I was in a cubicle and I'm like, dude, I gotta find some sunshine. I gotta get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to my brother because he was planning on moving out of the city. And I hit him up and like, hey, I just transferred my school there. I was going to art school at the time for animation. I transferred my school there. My lease is almost up here. I'm just gonna go. And right away he's like, what? He's like, I'm gonna move like next month. And he'd lived there for like, I don't know, like 15 years or something. And
in the cubicle?
No. He lived in another spot. But He's like, I'll find us a place and I'll stay here for you to show you around the city, show you what I know. And so that was really cool of him. So we got a spot together and he, was my bud. So yeah. So anyway, so I lived there. Then I moved to Guerrero. I found a studio apartment there, and
All you, just you?
just me. It was 200 square feet,
Yes.
and it was in an old Victorian, and I loved it. And I remember my first day when I got my keys, I laid down on the floor and I put my arms out and hugged the floor. And I started crying. And I was like, oh my God, this is like what I always wanted. Like, I always wanted to live in San Francisco in an old Victorian by myself and to work at a tattoo shop.
I
And
mean,
the
that's huge.
yeah,
I
that was,
just got my own studio to myself, you know?
and how good
I mean,
did you
living with lovers
feel?
that whole time, right? Fucking great. They're gonna have to pry my dead body out of here. I'm staying here forever, you know? That is a
Yeah.
huge thing. It's incredible.
Yeah, I felt like I fucking did or effing did it. And I was like just so pumped. And then the shop that I was working at the time was 2 blocks down. So I just had to walk 2 blocks down to go to work. It was great.
Oh man, that's great. Um,
Yeah.
so then what? You were like, how can I make this more complicated?
What do you mean?
You're like, you know what? I need to have a kid.
Oh,
Just kidding.
oh.
I jumped ahead,
Yeah.
but
I was like,
still.
oh yeah, you just
You're like, oh,
did.
I
That's
made
not
it. Everything's great. You know what I should do?
have a
Yeah,
baby.
let's make this a little harder. No.
So
Was
yeah.
your parents super proud that you were making it in the city on your own and stuff?
You know what, they were, and I felt that. And you know what, one memory I'll always remember, they came to visit for Thanksgiving, and in my little 200 square feet, okay, so my bed, everything was in the same room, and my bathroom was like a little gnome bathroom, like you had to like kind of like curl up a little bit when you went in, and the shower was tiny, and like sometimes when I went in there, I felt a little claustrophobic. I'm like, oh my God, I hope to God that the door doesn't lock on me. Like, what if I'm trapped in here?
Oh
So,
God.
anyways, so my parents came to visit for Thanksgiving. That was one thing we would always do when we were younger. They would take us to San Francisco for Thanksgiving, and we would always
Aw.
celebrate Thanksgiving in San Francisco every year up until recently when the fires happened, when like Frankie was like 6 months old, and we didn't go because of the fires. But anyway, so my mom is sitting on the corner of my bed. I got a fold out table that I found on the street corner like a week before. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be perfect for Thanksgiving dinner. So I had that as my table. My oven was like what's the kids thing? The Susie homemaker oven.
Yeah.
So Susie Q.
God, you know, I didn't have one. My
So
sister had one. Easy bake oven.
easy bake.
Okay.
So it was like an easy bake oven, basically. It was like an old vintage looking tiny thing.
Everything
And
was cooked with a light bulb. Basically.
yes, it had a light bulb in it. So
Oh
mom,
my
like,
God.
I remember we're like, is the turkey even gonna fit in? I don't eat turkey, but you know, for my family. So my mom's like trying to put the turkey in, and it barely makes it. My dad's sitting on my step stool. I had a little step ladder. He's sitting on that. My brother's sitting on a little another step stool that's probably like 2 inches off the floor. And I had one normal chair. So yeah, we were all, it was so cute. I'll never
You were
forget
like,
it.
I'm hosting.
I'm like, I am killing it right now this year for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful
That's
day.
a proud moment.
Yeah, I was very
Family
proud.
does Thanksgiving in your own place.
I loved it. Yeah.
Did you always want to be a mom?
I actually, I'm just gonna say, I mean, it's weird to say it now that I have this beautiful angel.
Oh my
But
God, so beautiful.
I didn't. Yes, I didn't. And my mom would always say, okay, well, I'm just gonna, my daughter's never gonna have babies. But I was always very, very, very intense. I'm never gonna get married. I'm never gonna have kids. I'm gonna work and travel and do art. And I'm gonna, just travel the world and do what I want. and have a bunch of animals. Like my animals are going to be my kids. I'm going to rescue a bunch of animals. So yeah, that's what happened. And then I, I stumble upon this precious bear beast of a man, and
You mean a cherub?
A cherub. He's
No,
so sweet. Yeah, he's so sweet, so kind. And I had a long history of dating a bunch of a-holes. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it.
A-holes.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
Ugh.
horrendous.
God, hate them.
So just had a bad, I was just not, I should have went to therapy a long time ago. I was just not in a good space. So
we should all be in therapy.
Yes. So horrendous past, and then he's just like glowing. He has rays behind him. He's so kind and sweet. And P.S. he was one of my brother's good buddies that he's known for a very long time.
Hooking it up again.
So
Frankie Sr.
My brother coming through again. So I remember that took some time with him, but he did tell me, he's so cool. He's so nice. He's
your brother wasn't down at first? Your brother was like, don't you touch my sister.
In all honesty, there was a time where we were on vacation and Danny would get up and go to the restroom. My brother would be telling him off because we told him we wanted to get married too, and he went off. And then my brother goes to the restroom. He's like, oh man. He's like, that's cool. He's like, if of any guy that I know, Danny's the one. He's so cool, so nice. So, and I'm like, why don't you tell that to his face?
Yeah. And so just giving him shit.
Yes. So the brotherly side was just, I gotta be rough and tough on his A, So, but he loved it. I mean, it's so cool, like hanging out with our family because my brother's just like really close with him. And yeah, so Danny.
So was there like a pheromone or something? I don't know how it works where you like sniff a Danny and then you're like, oh, you know what I would like to do?
He does smell good. Yeah.
Is have his babies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something
like the mind change.
Yeah. Something shifted. So we planned it out though. And I do remember when we first started dating, things were hot from the beginning with us because we just connected so intense, and he already knew my family, knew my brother. We were just like, it's like I could already trust him immediately because
it was already in the family. He
was already in the mix. So we were just going in hot from the beginning. And after about, I want to even say a week, I would say even a week, we brought up the topic of kids. And he was like, what did he say? I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to have kids. I just want to live my life and do my thing and, this and that. And he was devastated. And I'm like, what?
Danny, you can adopt a kid.
It was his
and have
face.
Your kid.
He was just like, what? I'm like, what's wrong? What's up? And he's like, I'm just trying to process what you just told me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, he's like, yeah. And, later, shortly, I mean, not even later down the road, maybe like 2 weeks later, we started talking about having kids. And 2 months in, we were engaged. A year later.
So you were like, well, like you got used to the idea.
Yeah, it didn't take long because he's just so sweet. And then I'm like, oh my God, like I could have a mini you, like they would halfway be you.
Oh, you were like gross in love. You were like gross.
Yeah,
you were like, I need more of you. How can I make more of you?
It was sickening.
That's cute.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I can have a little half of you running around, and oh my God. And then immediately my mind changed, and
you're like, love manifesting and running around and playing with crayons.
Yeah, and
that's cute. I'm into it.
Embrace it. Yeah. So yeah, 2 months later we're engaged. A year later we're married. And then my mom hits us with we purchased a home that's kitty corner backyard to your house that you grew up in, and if you guys want to, you could rent it out from us, and if you guys decide to move back. And at that time we were kind of becoming homebodies in our apartment, and we were like, yeah, you know what? We kind of did everything we wanted to do. We had made sure to travel a lot because we were
like
planning
getting
on
ready
having
to have
kids.
the baby.
Yeah, getting it all out, getting it out. And P.S. side note, if anyone's planning on having children, travel as much as you can beforehand. That's what everybody told me. I took a survey. Yeah, I took a survey of clients when they came in. So yeah, that's a smart thing. So we end up being like, yeah, like maybe we should just do it. And so we planned on moving. And it was probably like 6 months down the road, a little bit later. So we move, we get here, and we were planning on trying to have a baby like pretty, soon after I got off birth control. I, wanted to flush everything out, get healthier, drink, get it together before.
Yeah.
And this is where the TMI comes in, but I'm just going to go in.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. Give me your TMI.
So, we planned on, we kind of were going back and forth. Should we start now? Should we do it now? Should we do it now? But you're never going to be ready. So I was just feeling the vibes. I just got home from being in San Francisco for about a week. I flew up there to go work, came down, and I was home for, I think, like 2 days before I was going to fly back again for another week. And I got all razzle-dazzled out. And Danny came home. He took one look at me and knew what the scene was. And I told him, I was like, let's do it. Let's have this baby. Let's make this baby. And he was like, all right,
goodness.
let's do it. So this is something I don't really even have a problem saying it, live on a podcast, because it's something that I'm so proud of. And like, we were such planners, and it happened with so much love and care, and
it happened that night, right?
Yes. So it was just so important. And it's such a beautiful thing that I want to tell Frankie when she's old enough to understand. She's probably going to get grossed out.
Yeah. She's going to be like, Mom. And you're going to be like, baby, it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. And I remember
I was all razzle-dazzled out.
I was razzle-dazzled out. And in that moment, I'm like, I love you so much. And he was like, I love you so much. And the moment happened. And I know it sounds crazy, but I knew I was going to get pregnant. And it worked out to where I was able to find out it was that night. Because when you find out you're pregnant, they basically tell you,
narrow it down, right?
Within 2 days of when you got pregnant.
Yeah.
So it worked out because I had just got back from San Francisco. I was home for 2 days, and then I flew out again.
Yeah.
So they told me the date. It was the 15th. And the 15th was the day she was conceived. And
it was on your calendar too. It was conceived baby. Yeah.
It was that moment. How beautiful is that? Isn't that so beautiful?
It's very sweet, and it's also scary to me.
I know, it's scary too. Yeah. I told him, I'm like, we have to be careful. We tried one time and
absolutely. I'm glad I don't have to worry about that.
Beautiful but horrifying.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry.
So how did you think about tattooing with like getting pregnant, and like, how do you adjust? How do you adjust to, like, I don't know, that's 9 months, right? That's 9 months you have to be like kind of sick, and like everything's kind of feels weird, and you're tattooing during that.
Yeah, but luckily when I first got pregnant, I felt great. I had no more. I got sick. I think maybe one time I threw up, where out of nowhere, I just felt like I had food poisoning, and it was like throw up one time. I was it, which I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was like, oh, heck yeah. Like, I loved being pregnant. And I know most moms are going to be like, oh, shut up.
Why did you love it?
Because for one thing, I didn't feel sick. I didn't go through any of the things that most moms unfortunately like have to go through, and that sucks, like, but I felt like a glowing golden egg. And
Oh,
I felt like, oh shoot, like I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it right now. I have a life inside of me, and I'm carrying this life around, and
felt
I honestly,
powerful.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've never felt more confident in my whole life than I did when I was
Oh,
pregnant.
you're like, I know
And
damn well I'm growing this baby. Growing in me.
yes. And
Oh, that's
everyone's
sweet.
so nice to you. Like people see that belly, that pregnant belly, and doors are flying open for you, smiles left and right,
Well, they didn't know you had a
waves.
good pregnancy.
Yeah. So they're like,
They
oh,
think
poor
you're in
thing.
miserable pain.
Yeah. And I'm like
Oh, that's
dancing
sweet.
around doing kicks and flips. Yeah. I loved it. I loved it.
Aw.
Yeah.
Um, so how long did you tattoo while you were pregnant?
So I tattooed for, I want to say it was close to 7 months, but I feel like it's crazier in my case because when I was tattooing, I was flying. So I'd fly to San Francisco for sometimes a week, sometimes, 4 days. Usually it was 4 days that I would stay there, and then I'd come back and I'd go one time a month. Usually it was twice a month. And uh, yeah, it was great. Like I just made sure to drink a lot of water. The flight to San Francisco is so short. It's like 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And my doctor was always like, yeah, it's cool because it's so short. And then it got closer to when I remember I was in an appointment and I was like, yeah, like 6.5 months pregnant. And I'm like, when should I stop? Like, when should I stop flying? She's like, oh, you should stop now. And I'm like,
Oh
but I have
shit.
appointments next week. Like I'm flying there next week. And she was like, oh, shoot. She's like, well, she's like, it's only 50 minutes. You should be fine. She's like, but just make sure when you're taking off to slide all the way down in your chair to the bottom till your back is basically on the butt part
Oh my
and
God.
pull your knees in up
What?
high. And I'm like, what? Why? And she's like, well, the G force or whatever, like the force when you're taking off will push the fetus down towards your pelvic
Oh
area.
my God.
And I'm like, what? So is she gonna come flying? Is she gonna come flying out? And she's like, no, but you should be good, but just
But
do that.
hold it in, like nothing's gonna happen. Don't worry, but lay on your back whenever you take up and put your legs up. Oh
I
my
can't do
God, that
that.
would scare me so
I'm not in
much.
first class. I can't do that.
No, no
So
one can do that.
So I remember too when I was taking off, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I was like testing it out. I'm like, am I going to be able to do this? And I remember the lady next to me, I didn't care though. I'm like, look, I don't care if I look like a weirdo, like this is important. So I slid down all the way. Like I had to extend my seatbelt as far as it could go, went down all the way, put my knees up. And I felt the lady side eyeing me like, what the heck is she doing? But I'm like, lady, I don't want this. I don't want my baby to blow out here on the plane.
Ah!
So, but it
s-
worked. It's all good.
I have a question because I think about this stuff for sure. What was like after you had the baby? Did you experience any physical or mental challenges? And
I
like, did your
did.
whole body change? How does your brain feel?
I mean, it's crazy. And there's so many things that, you read blogs, you take the classes and everything ahead of time. But there were so many like basic things. I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this? Like, okay, so afterwards, I breastfed Frankie and I I had a really hard time with it. I remember I couldn't produce enough milk for her, and I tried everything. I had a nurse came and she checked up on us like I want to say it was once a week. No, it might have been once a week. She would come in. She would show me how to hold Frankie, how to do everything, and she kind of tested how much milk I was producing. And there was a period of time when Frankie was little where I would pump. I would use a breast pump, and then I would breastfeed her. And then when I was done breastfeeding her, I would feed her the breast milk that I had pumped earlier. So I would do this all an hour, once an hour through the night too. I would get up through the
Jeez.
night.
Well,
And by the time I was done doing all this stuff, it would be like a half an hour. So I'd sleep for 30 minutes, get up, do this whole process again, sleep for 30 minutes, get up. So I was like insane. I was
yeah,
like not
and that problem of not producing enough milk and like it wasn't like working out. That's a
yeah.
problem that we just don't talk about, right? Like a lot of people
No,
have that problem. And they're
yeah.
like, "Are you going to breastfeed or not?" And they act like it's your choice all the time. And it's like, yeah, most people have
Yes.
such difficulties with like it's not
Yes.
a, you know?
Yeah. And no one ever told me that. And I thought it was going to be squirty milk everywhere. And that wasn't the case.
And then were you
So,
like, does that put like a sense of shame in you? Like, oh, I can't
yes.
produce. Like I hear that and I'm like, that's terrible. We should probably talk about these things. Like it's
Yeah.
normal if you can't produce enough milk to feed a whole baby every hour.
Yeah. And they're constantly eating. So, and I remember feeling like, just like at my most, I felt so alone, so like helpless and not a good mom. And I was like trying my hardest and it still was failing. And that was like heartbreaking. And I'm looking down at her. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm trying. I'm like doing everything that I can. I was trying to take supplements. I was eating certain foods, pounding water, like doing everything that anybody recommended to me and anything online. And one thing did work for me a little bit was there's this woman like in Riverside, shout out Riverside, and she would make like brownies and cookies and like supplements to help you to produce milk. And there was this thing called the emergency brownie, and I ordered them. And on the label, it even said, warning, do not eat two at a time because basically your breast would explode.
Oh shit. That's incredible.
But they were so good. They were delicious.
Oh,
and even
no.
being shipped and everything, they were so moist.
No.
Yeah.
You
so
ate
I'm like,
too. I'd eat too.
I had two the first round. I was like, I'm having trouble.
Oh,
It's going to be
my
fine.
God.
It was awful. It was like someone poured cement inside of my chi-chis. It was, and I'm not even kidding. Like literally, you could knock on them and do Morse
what
code
the
on them.
fuck?
Yeah,
And they just like needed to dispose of
you
their
got to
milk so
express
bad?
them. You got to get it
Oh
out.
my
So
God.
immediately, I put the pumps on, and it made me produce the most milk I had ever produced the whole time. So I ordered those, and I'm like eating these brownies, like trying to pump, but it's still like what I was pumping was like a little less than like normal, I feel like, or what.
Yeah.
So it was hard, but then finally I accepted, okay, I'll do half formula, half this. And the nurse that came to see me always said, as long as she's getting a little bit of it, she's getting,
That's
it's
fair.
like the golden juice.
Yeah, totally. It is the golden juice. Give it just a teaspoon. That's
good. Did you know athletes and stuff like order it online?
That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. Grow a baby. No, they do what they want, but and if you can still produce it and make money off it, that sounds great. Can you? Yeah. I don't know. So
I'm not hating
mentally,
on that.
how'd you do after the baby? Mentally.
Okay, so I had I definitely, looking back at it now, I'm like, oh shoot, I had postpartum bad. Not like super bad like some of the stuff I read about, but I was so down because you're just like trying to do your best and you're failing at certain things. And then also just I know like adjusting to being like a full-time tattooer to like being pregnant and then not being able to do it at all and having this new job. It's like I do feel like people as lucky as us to do their dream jobs and what they love, it becomes who you are. So once I became a mom, I'm like, well, who am I? I'm not tattooing. I'm like, what am I doing? And
that makes sense. You have to ditch your whole identity just to, not just, but to have this kid. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh, and you had to leave the city and hang out with suburb moms where it's hard to make friends.
Yes.
What's up with that? How's those suburbs?
Well, luckily I still had a couple of friends here in town that still lived in Camarillo, and I was able to hang out with. But man, it was kind of tough, just because I mean, even now I feel like kind of like a weirdo in the neighborhood. But I also like,
Because you're tattooed fully and it's mostly white people,
yes,
like stuck up white people.
but I do make a huge effort on holidays. I do gift bags for the neighbors.
Oh, you
I
do
make
it all
cookies.
big, for
I do it
sure.
all big for every
Aw.
neighbor. So I feel like in the neighborhood I'm killing it, and maybe on the outside I'm, feel a little bit more alone.
Aw.
But I remember taking Frankie to like a couple of her first classes, like her little music, not even the music classes, but like there was this little like play area where kids could socialize, and I would take her when she was a baby. And twice it happened to me where I got there and sat down with Frankie, and I like sat down next to a couple of moms, and they got up and ditched. Like they got up
Oh my
immediately and like went to a
God.
different area. And I'm like, I'm nice, I swear.
The hell are they scared of? What the
But
fuck are they
let's weed
scared?
out the bad ones.
Yeah,
from
seriously.
The
I don't want to
Get
hang
'em
out with
outta
you guys
here.
anyways.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
And it also seems like, okay, beyond that challenge, it seems hard as fuck to make new friends as a parent. Like,
yeah.
whenever, like, I went with you to the baby music class, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make that girl my friend. I'm gonna get her my number.
My
And I was like,
God.
this is as hard
Remember
as
that?
dating.
Shout out Jamie. I think she's listening right now. I think she's listening.
You guys
So
dated. It went well.
Yeah, we had our friend dates. And I
Aw.
remember even telling you this, and we talked about it too. And we both had the same experience, because it was just like a bunch of like boring moms, like boring, untattooed, like plain Jane moms in the class. And I'm like,
Get out of here,
not
Mom.
to hate on that, that's not, but I'm like, am I going to be able to vibe with them,
Basic. We're talking.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, basic.
I mean, we're artist weirdos, and we need to be fueled by other weirdos. I'm sorry, it's okay to be normal, but like we're just weird, and like that stimulates us. I feel you. You're good.
I need some weird.
We're gonna need some weird in there. Yeah.
So I remember spotting her, and I like hit up my like Danny, and like I was telling my mom, I'm like, dude, there's a tattooed mom in there, and she's brown like me, and I feel like, we could be good friends. And I remember like trying to chop up conversation with her, and trying to
it's like trying to flirt, but you're like really trying to be friends. You're like,
but just trying to be friends. And I remember mentally preparing how I was gonna like execute the plan that day. Like, okay,
I like your shoes.
Yeah, I like your shoes. I like your tattoo. And
so
you feel like a
cute.
little kid again. It's like scary, but it worked out, and now we're super good friends.
Aww.
And her daughter is now Frankie's bestie, her daughter Luna.
Hell yeah. 2 for 1.
So that's really cool. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna end you with one question, and then we'll see if anybody wants to ask us any questions, ask you any questions.
It's over already?
Yeah.
I was just getting cozy.
I know, right? We should just we not press record for the first 15 minutes, and then just
so we get loose.
Yeah. What are you gonna do when Frankie comes to you and is like, "Mom, tap me up"?
Oh gosh. Yeah, this is one that
she's gonna do it at 14, probably. She's gonna be like, "Mom, give me a tattoo," I
want to tell her no.
No.
Means no.
She's gonna get her friend to do it then.
No. Yeah, that's one thing. I'm like, I am like, even though I'm like, oh, just wait till you're like 30. But no, no. But I feel like all the tattoos that I got, like right when I was 18,
you love your love.
I do love my first tattoo. I will admit that. I do love that one. But like a few of the ones after that, I was kind of just like wiling out a little bit, like kind of, I don't know. Like I feel like
got carried away. You're just trying to fill up space.
I was just trying to fill up space.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to give her all the knowledge I have, everything that I know, just have deep conversations with her about what she wants to get, and be able to tell her how it's going to age and everything like that. And also I feel like I have so many awesome friends that could tattoo her that I would totally trust.
Yeah.
And
what if she comes to you and is like, Mom, I want love on the back of my neck with Old English?
Oh, I would like that.
Isn't that cute? That would be so cute.
Yeah.
I'll tell Frankie whenever she gets older and she's like, Mom won't let me get a tattoo. I'm gonna be like, yo, try this one out.
I actually would like I might tell her like, okay, you can get your first one, but it has to be matching with me.
I know parents like that. No, let her come up with it on her own. Let her scheme that, because that's a good angle. And,
That's good.
you can ask Aunt Haley. I'll give her the angle, but if you say it, then it'll be like uncool. But
okay,
you know,
I'll have you
I'll
tell her
it.
that.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions in the chat for Kristina?
Okay, let's see. There's definitely a bunch of comments.
Cool.
I'm going to start from the beginning.
Probably about the relations.
Haley's mom says, hey, y'all, from North Carolina. Lee's beaming in from Ventura, California. Let's see. Lee says, you both look amazing. Maddie sends love, 3 hearts in a row.
Aww.
Haley's mom says, you waited until you were 25 to tell you about her first tattoo.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's true. Because it was, I remember I had to go to prom and it was on my leg and I had to hide it because I've been tattooing since I started my apprenticeship at 16. So I couldn't tell my mom whenever I got tattooed because, yeah, that's true.
You were wild.
She was laughing. She said it was too late to get upset.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay, so Koala, Koala, Koala says, Christina Haley, what's it like to be such badasses and also perfect human beings?
Oh, so nice.
It's
we
great.
Can't say anything to that. Come on.
I answer. I'm like, yeah, it's fun. No, just kidding.
Okay.
Love you, Jess.
Okay, Vic. Oh man, my pronunciation's horrible. Victlempler. Shoo. Vikthe. Oh, Vic the Impaler. Jesus. Okay, Vicky can confirm. She'll do that, Danny. Lee also says Danny's the best. Danny's getting some.
They like the baby cherub Danny. I know he's a bear.
He is. Bear beast.
Let's see some compliments for the wedding. Vic the Impaler says good ass wedding. Leah says the best wedding. Vic the Impaler says ultimately the best experience I've ever had. So freaking pretty. So many flowers.
Aww.
Let's see. And then lastly, Vic says your kid is so cute. Good genes making good genes.
Aww.
That is a very cute kid.
That is so sweet.
Ridiculous. Well then, you can follow Kristina at ChristyQ downspace tattoos. You can follow Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo at Reinventing the Tattoo on Instagram. And you can follow me at Haley Adams Tattoos and this interview series at Live in the Castro Tattoo. Also, check us out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, nice hanging out with you, Kristina. I miss you.
Oh my gosh, I miss you so much. This was
Thanks
so fun. I don't want it
coming.
to end.
I know,
but
we
it
could
has
just keep
to.
doing. Oh. We could just keep. No, okay, yeah. We'll
I gotta go pick up Frankie. No,
yeah, over the wall. You have to get your mom to hand him over the wall.
I gotta wait.
Hand her over the wall. Thank you, Gabe. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.